All right, welcome to our May 13th COAACC membership meeting. My name is Avery Frost. I am your executive director. Thank you for being here, for your time today. We're going to try to stay within a reasonable amount of time. I'm not making any promises though. But if you have to log off, there's no worries. We are recording this and we'll send this to everyone as soon as we're done. And then also, as long as I get no objections, we'll post it onto our social media and to our website so that other people who may be interested in hearing about what we're chatting about or just want the information can log on and listen. All righty. So, all right, so today, hey Rhonda.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, good.
All right, just for format purposes, we're gonna go through the agenda real quick. We have a few speakers who will be filling in some gaps and giving context and some nice background for you. So first we're gonna talk about funds for business. I know that a lot of us are wondering how we're gonna, weather the storm of COVID. A lot of you have already reached out and or are reaching out about what funding is available for your business. So we'll talk about some options that we're aware of. But then we'll get into specifically talking about PPP, and we asked Tasha, one of our board members and one of our members extraordinaire, to give us some little background there as well. Hold on, I'm multitasking, forgive me. Okay, and then we will talk about some new benefits that are coming up. If you've been on social media and if you follow Nicole Simpson, you've definitely seen some nice play about that today. But we have Sandra Moon Gresham and Nicole Simpson to talk to us about two special new benefits that have come online that I think everybody will be pretty excited about. And also one or two others that I will reveal when we get there. I will go through some legislative updates, so some activity from our elected officials and also how you should be engaging them because they want to hear from you and they want to know what you think, because our perspectives are going to help influence the legislation that they go for. And then we'll talk about a couple upcoming events and then open it up for updates from the floor. So if you have anything that you want to share, you can put a note in the chat box or just raise your hand. I think that's a thing that happens, maybe even literally raise your hand if you're sharing your video screen, and I will be able to unmute you, or you can unmute yourself. All right, so let's see. All right, so first things that people I think are really, really excited about. Okay, so funding for your business, right? We're looking for different applicable working capital products that you can be accessing right now, and ideally in an urgent kind of manner. So the first one out that I'm gonna really speak on is the recovery loan at ECDI. So they have a product. If you're not an ECDI client, they'll do up to $20,000, a 6-year term loan for 6% interest, and they defer interest for the first 3 months. That is only looking at your credit and your SBA eligibility, or really making sure that you're not delinquent on taxes, child support, student loan debt. You can have debt, but you need to be on a payment plan or making payments, and that you haven't had a criminal conviction within a certain amount of time. I think it's 5 years. The credit limit that they're looking at is 580, and you can go anywhere from $1,000 to $20,000 if you're not a client, up to $50,000 if you have had a previous lending relationship with ECDI. It's really a simple application process. You email recovery@ecdi.org. They'll send you a link. You do an online application. I've been told it takes anywhere from a week to 2 weeks or more for that to get processed. But the underwriting is so minimal that hopefully it's the longest thing you're waiting for is the background check, which they have to do to verify SBA eligibility. We've heard through the grapevine that there might be another product coming out of ECDI for a lower amount, and it could be forgivable. They haven't given their people authorization to reveal it, but I was on a call with their director or their founder, Ina Kinney, and she said that it's coming imminently. It's coming down the pike, a forgivable loan product up to $5,000. And so they're targeting it. It still has SBA eligibility requirements. So basically, if you look at the paycheck protection, like questions that they ask you, have you been convicted, all those kind of things. If you can pass that eligibility, whether or not you can get the PPP, if you can pass that eligibility, you will be eligible for the forgivable loan that UCDI is looking at and the recovery loan. So that's the most important thing. Our partners at KeyBank, and I get nothing for hyping any of these people, but I know that they're doing this work. So that's why I'm telling you about it. And if you know of other banks or lending institutions that have been giving some good play to small businesses, please let us know so that we can share that information with membership. But KeyBank has a financial product, a number of them, but they've been doing it at an ongoing almost 2 years now, a line of credit for up to $50,000 with minimal financials required for that. And so regardless of your banking relationship, you can reach out to Alicia Wyatt, and that's her email there. And I can get you her phone number if you need it. But Alicia has been really helpful. I send her people almost daily to walk through what products Key has to offer and if they're eligible for it. So at very least, lines of credit are cool. If you're not familiar, you get pre-approved for up to $1 amount. So say up to $50,000, but you're paying the interest on the portion that you use, and you can write checks on it. Some lines of credit have cards associated with them. And so when you're looking at how you're incurring debt, you might reach out to your business bank to look at what products they have and if a line of credit is one of them. And some of them are offering lines of credit, some are doing credit cards, some have working capital loans, etc. But that is my next biggest point, which is, I was supposed to get to that one first. Reach out to your bank. You should have a relationship with your business banker. If you don't, that's okay, but you should start tomorrow. Give them a call, say, hey, want to know who I could talk to about business banking. I've been a client of yours since forever. Want to know how you can help my business. If you're trying to like butter them up, say that you really like your relation, you like what they offer and all that stuff, they like that kind of smoozing. But they should know you and you should know them. It's easier for you to do that at a smaller bank, but you can establish relationships with branch managers. So Alicia is the branch manager at the Powell Key Bank. And we've had a relationship with that bank as the chamber since we started. So that's how I can always make that connection if you don't have somebody that you're really comfortable with. But also look at a smaller bank, look at a credit union, look at a bank who you can identify their president or their vice president because they live in the town that you're banking in. Those are important things. And again, if you need direction with that, please just let us know. All right, so all over the news, if you haven't been watching the news, that's a whole nother challenge that we'll talk about a different time. But all over the news, we have been hearing about the CARES Act and the loan products that became available through it. So the CARES Act was the second or third round of money, and they're talking about another round of money, which I will talk about when we get to legislative updates. But so the paycheck protection loans and the economic injury disaster loan. If you did not get your application in for the economic injury disaster loan, which is a product directly through the SBA in the first round of money, you cannot apply for that right now. So we're not even going to talk about it. If you did apply and you still haven't even gotten your advance, or maybe you got an advance of $1,000 per employee up to $10,000, they should still be reviewing your application. Good luck contacting them. It's been like a black hole when you send emails, but I can get you the contact information if you want to try, because I say you should at least try. But they have a couple emails like disasterloan@sba.gov and another one, and then a phone number where you can call. And people are literally just calling as much as possible because they're still processing applications from probably early April, maybe even not even probably mid-April yet. So that's one. We'll move along. The other one was the paycheck protection, where you could apply for funding for up to 2.5 times your monthly payroll from last year. And so there are a few different ways that people are calculating it, but by and large, you look at if you're self-employed, what you paid yourself, you have to be able to document it. You had to have a 1040 Schedule C that showed a net profit, even if it was $1, but you can't have a loss. If you have a loss, they're going to cut you too. But so you have to have so you figure out, do the calculations. It can only be for W-2 or the employers who have paid themselves with a 1099. You cannot get a paycheck protection loan for 1099 subcontractors, so don't try. They have to go apply themselves because they are technically business entities. A part of this loan, or actually all of it, is potentially forgivable if within the 8 weeks of receiving the first disbursement, you use 75% or more for payroll. The 25% can be used for eligible expenses like rent and utilities and interest on mortgage payments. But you have to do it all within the first 8 weeks. So some people got this money in the first round and they've already been at like 4 weeks with this money, and they have within 4 weeks to use it on payroll if they haven't already been paying their folks for it. And so we're gonna have Tasha jump in, but because a major part of this forgiveness is that you have documented how you're paying yourself, how you're paying your employees, and you have records to show it so that you can apply to your lender to be forgiven. Tasha?
Absolutely. Thank you for that really good information and overview, Avery. So anytime that you're looking at funds from the government in a situation, documentation is the most important. I will just kind of start with, because this is a good faith self-certification type of program that, or AKA system, they are talking about some potential audits. I would classify obviously, if a loan would be greater than 2 million, a high risk. And then since they're only doing spot checks for PPP loans that were less than 2 million, I would classify that to a moderate to a low risk of actual audit, just because the sheer number of loans that were out there, and then the person capacity that they have at the SBA to review these and perform the audits, I think would be, I guess, an overwhelming and daunting task. But nonetheless, you always want to have your documentation in order. So I think that because the expenses were specifically defined as to what were eligible expenses, payroll, including benefits, some benefits, and mortgage insurance, mortgage interest, rent with a lease agreement, and utilities, with 75% of that obviously needing to go to payroll / benefits. Then the focus would be on those items. There may be the situation where you had an employee and you had to let that employee go, and that then once you were able to receive the funds, you extended an offer to that employee and they rejected that offer. They said, hey, I'm not going to come back. Either I've got unemployment and it's paying more, or I've found employment elsewhere. Those still may be not counted against you. The record keeping on that is that you want to make sure that the offer that you extended to them was at the same pay rate and the number of hours. So you couldn't, for that to be eligible. So you couldn't say, hey, here's $2 an hour less and 5% of hours less. That wouldn't be an equal exchange offer, and so those wouldn't qualify. But if you did have the situation where you offered a job back to an employee and they refused it, get records with written documentation that they've said no. You've extended the offer, but I'm rejecting it. Let's see. I would think in general, the record keeping or the ability to produce these records, your number one source is probably going to be your bank account. And, hopefully at this point, you have a separate bank account that is designated for your business expenses, that is independent of your personal bank account. So you're not commingling your funds, but with your bank account, you should be able to have your record of your expenses that you've paid out, and some type of description so that they can point to whether they were payroll, et cetera, utilities, whatever. And then also your, if you have withholding documentation, you've had payroll and you've submitted taxes for these individuals, that would be another source of documentation to substantiate that you've used these funds for purposes of payroll. Also, you want to make sure that for you're including probably your employees' names, the rate of pay, and the number of hours. Those may be details that would come in handy to substantiate your numbers and back those numbers for you. Let's see. Those are pretty much what I have in terms of other statements. Depending on the timing of your audit, obviously you want to have, if you're renting, you would want to have a lease agreement saying that, this was, an actual lease space that you were renting. If you're paying mortgage, then you would want to have your mortgage statements. Depending on the timing of it, you may have your 1098 mortgage that has your annual information for the entire year. So those are pretty much the highlights, I think, of in terms of record keeping, specifically for PPP audit purposes. I'll turn it back over to you, Avery, if no one else has any questions.
Okay, so Sandra wants to know, does the business have to make a request to the lender for forgiveness, or will the bank reach out to the business? I've heard that you had to reach out and request forgiveness. I don't know if anyone knows that specifically, because the goal line keeps changing on this one, and the guidance is literally updated every day. Like, it was updated again today. And so to be safest, I would suggest reaching out to the lender who gave you the money and ask them proactively what the steps are to get forgiveness. I do have a question for Tasha, and or I see Darius is on here. It said in the forgiveness guidance that you couldn't, because as part of the CARES Act, everybody, if you wanted to, I guess, under 50, you didn't have to do this, but everybody got paid sick leave. And so they said that, and it comes as a tax credit back as a reimbursement to the employer. And so from my understanding, and I don't know if this might be digging too deep into the weeds, and we might have to have a whole nother conversation about this, about forgiveness. But it sounded, in my reading of it, is that if you take advantage of that tax credit, you can't apply that towards forgiveness. You can't ask for forgiveness of that same amount. And so I may just put a pin in that question for asking it later. But Tasha, do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so I've started to look into that, but don't have any specific analysis to arrive at a definitive answer. But I mean, I think the gist of it is you're not going to be able to double count something. So, you know what I mean? So I think it will probably be one or the other, but not both. Can't say that definitively, but I can definitely circle back around to that and provide information at a later time.
Perfect, thank you. Any other questions about the paycheck protection? And somebody did put into the, oh, that's a good question. Okay, so Janet did mention that PayPal is doing loans. Some days on their website, it says that PayPal will do it for new and existing clients. On other days, it says existing only. Another great resource has been Kabbage with a K, K-A-B-B-A-G-E. And in our, the follow-up email that we send out with a link to this and all of the takeaways, I'll also include a list that I've been working on with the Urban League on a bunch of people, online and local, that are still accepting paycheck protection loans for new and existing clients. So we'll make sure to include that information. Marcus wants to know, if you use less than 75% of the loan, but a portion of it, maybe 50%, for payroll, are you required to repay the entire 75%? I think actually you'd be, if you don't meet the requirements of forgiveness, you'd have to repay the entirety of the loan. But again, that one I'm not sure. And yes, 1099 contractors, you yourself can apply for paycheck protection. You can apply for different recovery loans, depending, like at the one that we mentioned at ECDI, but how you cannot apply for your 1099s under the paycheck protection. Like, so, because they're not employees. That's the most important thing I want to mention here, is that even if you use 1099s as if they're employees, first of all, stop saying that, and don't say that ever out loud to anyone, because you should be paying them as employees on W-2, and you should be paying payroll taxes. So I'm worried that because of some of the applications and the way people are phrasing it, that they're going to trigger reviews anyways, because they're indicating that they're paying people to be full-time employees, but as 1099s. And technically you're not supposed to do that. So that's why I think in the guidance that they put out, each individual 1099 contractor can indeed apply for paycheck protection themselves. And then the follow-up question I always get is, why would my employees want to get a loan to work for me? Well, they're not your employees if they're 1099 contractors. That's just, they're not. I don't know another way to say that. And that is also a follow-up conversation that we need to have, making sure you're paying yourself legally and your people legally so that you stay out of trouble. Any other questions for the paycheck protection? We'll have time for questions. Okay. Yeah, so Sharon, you can apply for a number of things. And I can send you some information after this, and we can include that in the follow-up email as well. But if you're a 1099 self-employed individual or an independent contractor, you are eligible for this, and you're eligible for a few other things. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next. Okay, hold on. If you are self-employed and don't have employees, can you hire individuals and use up to 75% amount to hire individuals after you receive the loan? I honestly think that I don't know the answer to that, because I think the way I've been hearing it, you have to go match it for number of employees on the repayment, but I don't want to give that a false answer to that, so we can follow up on that, unless Tasha, you know the answer to that question.
I was under the impression that these were to protect jobs that were already existing at a certain period of time. So new employees, I don't know how that would apply.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we can talk.
Avery? Yeah, I had the same impression, because I recall that as part of the whole process, one of the things they were looking at was what your payroll had been, so they could establish that. So I would think that if that's what they're looking at, those people would have had to have been, or at least substantially, most of them, on the payroll already. Yeah,
and so, but also, like a funny caveat, if they decide not to come back and you're able to, well, before this latest guidance, if they decided not to come back or couldn't come back and you hired to fill that gap, then it could still be forgiven. And then also, as Tasha mentioned, if you gave an offer letter and they denied the offer at the same rate, same hours, you could maybe still be forgiven for that, even though that was still a gap. So I think that the only way that I know of that you could really do a new hire is if you were trying to fill a hole to match back up to the number. But again, don't quote me on that. Darius says that the guidelines are based, Darius has a payroll vault. He's one of our members. He says the guidelines are generally based on the full-time equivalent. You have to be back to the same full-time equivalent by June 30th. That makes sense. Okay, so put a pin in any other questions or put them in the group chat and we will get the questions answered for you, whether it be today or as a follow-up. But we're gonna keep moving so that we can be respectful of everybody's time. And again, there'll be more on this, I'm sure. So I'm gonna go back to screen sharing. Haha. Okay. So next up, I wanna have Sandra Moody Gresham and Nicole Simpson talk to us about the new benefits that we are rolling out. And you're hearing it here first, people. Well, unless you follow Nicole on Facebook and then you heard it there first. But you know, neither here nor there. But yeah, Sandra.
Well, good evening, everybody. So you may know, if you've been a member for a while, that the Chamber offers the Anthem MIWA health insurance program, which is a chamber benefit for multiple chambers under the group health insurance program. So previously you had to have 2 employees with at least one of them as a W-2 eligible for the health insurance. So as of July 1st, Anthem is allowing sole proprietors or solopreneurs to take advantage of that group benefit. So it's a huge offering, because the prices for the Anthem MIWA program is generally could be as much as 20 to 30% lower than some of the traditional group plans. So you have to be a member of a chamber, a particular chamber, and ours in particular, to take advantage of it. But it's really exciting that now solopreneurs can get this group health insurance program. Many times you got to compare it, because many of these individuals or independent contractors may have a marketplace health insurance plan. So you want to compare the pricing and coverage to the healthcare.gov plan you may have to this plan. So I will tell you that the Anthem plan is going to offer richer benefits. But if your income is fairly low and you're eligible for subsidies on the marketplace, you won't get those subsidies by participating in the Anthem program. But the offset may be really worth it from the if it's comparable in price, but you're going to really enhance your health insurance benefits by doing the Anthem plan. So that's huge for a lot of people, particularly a lot of the independent contractors. You don't have to have employees, you don't have to have a payroll. The evidence to prove you a independent contractor or sole proprietor, they need to see the Schedule C or with the 1040 or Schedule SE. So if you file in, as long as you filing your taxes and you're filing a Schedule C, that's the evidence that's needed to allow you to be eligible for that program. So we're really excited about that. We can take applications now, but coverage won't be effective until July 1st. That's when that's going to be available. And then just an update on the Grange life insurance benefit. Many of you who've been members for some time know that Grange made an offering up to $100,000 of guaranteed issue life insurance, which simply meant no health questions. As long as you were working, you were eligible for that coverage, as long as you were a member of the chamber. So that coverage is now closed. There have been a lot of changes with life insurance recently, and I think shutting that program down was accelerated by COVID, but that is no longer available. However, we've been able to find another product that not only provides us some life insurance on a guaranteed issue basis, but also some additional programs. So Nicole Simpson of Go Fund Your Life, she and I have partnered on this opportunity. So I'm gonna have Nicole share with you what the benefits of the new Colonial Life program will be for members of COAACC.
Awesome. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Hi, everybody. My name is Nicole Simpson. I apologize that I do not have my video on, but hopefully you can hear me loud and clear. And next time we meet, you will be able to see my bright and shining face when we are able to go to the hair salons again. We are looking forward to that opportunity. So I just want to share about the program with Colonial and how we're being able to roll out what we consider corporate level benefits to our small business owners. As Avery mentioned, I did get excited and I posted today on my social media about the fact that one of the #1 reasons why people hold back from being able to go full-fledged as entrepreneurs and business owners is that they feel like they're not going to be able to have access to the same level of benefits that they have at their job. So they're hanging on oftentimes just to be able to keep those benefits. So what we've been able to do is get an exclusive partnership through Colonial Life to offer a wide menu of benefits for all of the chamber members and whoever their employees may be or their sole proprietors. So at the end of the day, we are all running businesses with the intention of creating generational wealth, right? We want to make a profit. We want to be able to become wealthy. And most of us want to be able to have something as a legacy to leave on to the next generation. And a part of doing that is really being able to protect those things. So with these programs, we really want to be talking about ways that we can protect our paycheck. So the program has built-in opportunities for all COAACC members to access disability insurance, whole life and term life, and there are some guarantees, meaning no poke, no pee. Nobody's going to make you have to take an exam. They're not going to ask you a lot of questions to be able to get those insurances, which is typically the way people are able to get covered through their corporate jobs. They don't ask you any questions for those kinds of things. We also included accident insurance, cancer, critical illness, and hospital confinement indemnity. So if those things sound familiar to you, it's probably because you have heard about them more often than not on television with the very famous duck who quacks. We are not the quacking duck. However, we are that competitor. So we do offer all of those same benefits. Generally, you would need to have a small group of employees, usually 3, 4, 5, in order to be able to roll out a few of these programs. What we were able to do is to roll out our full suite of programs to all of the members. And instead of having to have multiple individuals, the trigger is actually going to be 3 policies. So you may have one individual who is a solopreneur, but they may say, okay, I want to take advantage of a life insurance policy. I definitely need some disability and an accident policy. Those will be great things. So those 3 programs that they've set up, that qualifies them to be able to have access to this particular program. We continued to work with Colonial and said, hey, what else can we do to make this deal sweeter? I explained to them about my passion about making sure that people are able to preserve their assets. And they threw in for us Law Assure. Law Assure is a 1-year legal document preparation company. So you actually can log into Law Assure as a member and get an opportunity to write your will, get your advanced directives, all of those things that you need to take care of in order to preserve your assets and be sure to be able to pass them on to the next generation. If you have not accessed those things through any other means, this is a way for you to do it totally free. So we want to make sure that everyone who interacts with the chamber, they've got access to good quality products, ways to be able to receive education, how to protect their assets, how they can plan for their financial future, and then ways to easily pass that baton of generational wealth onto the next generation behind us. As far as the enrollment is concerned, if you were on this call, if you were watching this, later, it's important that you know that every single person who is a member of the chamber as of May the 18th is required to just give us a red light or a green light, a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and we will be reaching out to you with our enrollment group saying, we have this option, do you want to take advantage of it or not? Those dates are important because that is what's going to guarantee that you can take access to these particular programs without any questions. Now, does that mean that if you change your mind after your May 18th date and you want to come in and be a part of the program, can you still do it? Yes. However, if you have already given us a decline, the company reserves the right to go ahead and go through some underwriting. So the option of guaranteed issue, where we're not asking any questions, allowing you to get access to some of these products without going through any medical underwriting, that won't be on the table once you get out of your enrollment period. So we're going to be reaching out via email, we'll be reaching out via phone, possibly doing some mailers, but we need to be in contact with everyone who are members as of May the 18th to say, hey, you want to take advantage of this or you do not. I know I talk fast, but I wanted to make sure that I leave enough time for the next person to get on and I get excited about this stuff. So I'm going to end there with that portion. And if there are questions or anything that you need me to clarify with, let me know. Okay,
I do have a question. So, like, what if, not being funny, But what if somebody said, I want to give you a yellow light, right? Like I'm interested. I don't want to miss out on this opportunity, but I'm not ready to purchase right this second. Would that technically be a no?
It's technically going to be a no, because
Okay.
we either need to say, yes, you're interested and we're going to go through the process, or no, we're not. Now, the thing about the legal assure, the law assure, you can still gain access to that whether or not you purchase a policy, but you do have to go through that process where we ask you questions and you are declining or accepting the offer totally. So even if you say, no, I don't want any of these programs, just because you talked to us and we went through our process and got you checked off our list, you still will have access to the law assure. And then there's also a wellness, prescription wellness card with discounts that we will throw in just for being a chamber member.
Cool. Thank you.
And I just want to add what Tasha asked a question about those who currently have Grange's life insurance program. So those policies will stay in force as long as you continue to pay your premium. So there's no change to those. The fact that the benefit is not available, it is not available to any new applicants.
Oh, cool. Yes. Thank you for clarifying that.
Okay, and then what did she say? Are these benefits a la carte? For example, do you have to enroll in the policy to access? Okay, Tasha, I think I answered that question, but yes, all of these programs are a la carte. And then if you have employees, these programs are designed to be payroll deducted. So you can choose to help pay, or you can allow your employees to select that. And that's something that's extraordinarily important, and I try to make sure that everyone really understands that that guaranteed issue, that no questions asked type of a policy is extraordinarily important to many of us, because you don't know who your workforce is. So you may have individuals who work for you who are not able to get these types of benefits on their own because they cannot qualify for them outside on the open market. They need you to offer these benefits so that they can get some of this help to be able to take care of their family. You've got folks who are overweight, you've got folks that have health conditions, folks who maybe have some mental health, depression issues, things like that in their background. A lot of those kinds of things prevent them from going on the open market and purchasing a lot of these programs. So we just want to make sure that everyone knows that. It doesn't cost you anything to offer this to your folks. If they want to take advantage of it, we just need to be in contact with your payroll company and we'll set up the billing for them. So it's really a hands-off approach for you to be able to offer a great option that's going to help with retention. It's going to help with your overall employee morale. And people really want this stuff, especially after COVID. People are saying, give me all you have, because we can't take another hit. We've already been off work. God forbid we have an accident or an illness or an injury that's going to prevent us from being able to earn an income. We need something to be able to stop the bleed. So it's a great opportunity.
So we thank you, Avery and Jill, for the partnership and allowing us to continue to offer products and services, just kind of help protect and grow the wealth of our members. So however we can help, and I just encourage people to look out for an email or a telephone call from one of our team and let us help you continue to protect the wealth and assets of your family.
We truly appreciate y'all reaching out and extending this. And actually, I'm going to talk about what he has helped us with too. But Darius has a question. What is the policy limit for life insurance with 0 health questions?
So on this one, the policy limit is $25,000 with 0, and then there are 3 small health questions if you want to get more. So most people have been able to get up to about 100 and 150,000 with very minimal questioning. So we can definitely talk about it if that's something you're interested for your company, Mr. Darius.
Fantastic, thank you. So what I want to say here before we go to the next benefit, and I'm going to have Denise talk to us about that. But what's I love about the growth of the chamber is that we have members generating benefits, and we have members who are helping us identify things that would be useful to other members. So Darius Burnett, he's offered discounts on his services since he joined for payroll services and some other business services for chamber members. But he's also brought to the table, and I don't even want to totally reveal it all the way because we haven't locked it down yet, but he's also brought to the table another benefit for some discounts or some cost savings on workers' compensation. So if you have something that you offer, or you have a connection, or you're affiliated with something, you can bring it to us and we can talk about how we can get it shared to our membership, so that it's beneficial to your business or your relationship, but more importantly, so that it's beneficial to other chamber members. All right, so the next thing that we're going to talk about, you got an email about this. We need you to respond to it, but Denise Ransom is one of our board members, and she's helped us organize a partnership as actually the whole membership and marketing team. We're trying to figure out how we can fill a gap and fill a need in terms of personal protective equipment. So Denise, if you would like to speak on that in your survey. Hold on. Oh wait, there you go. There you go.
We are working with Z Promotions to purchase protectional personal protective equipment, and it extends the gamut from gloves and masks to the protective shields that a lot of people are considering for smaller office spaces. It includes the decals that go on the floor that says, please wait here, or stand 6 feet back. It has the the hazmat suit. I don't know if anyone needs that. There are some other little trinkets, but most of all, we have a survey that we sent out. Avery sent out the link with the last email newsletter. It's also on our Facebook site.
It's on Facebook, and it's on our homepage at coac.org now.
Yeah, I would ask you to take a look at it. It's 3 simple questions. If you need to know more, let us know. And I have a one-sheeter that gives you an idea of what she provides. I think the biggest thing is all of us, if we're ordering individually, and I'm in the business where we use gloves anyhow. I mean, my delivery time has gone from 4 days to 3 weeks because I'm not buying a case. But if you have, we can utilize the buying power that Z Promotions has in getting the things that we're going to need to comply with the governor's order on PPE, even in an office where you're not customer facing. So I just ask you to please take a look at the survey, fill it out. It takes like 3 minutes, and we'll be back to you more than likely by the beginning of next week, and talk with you more about what your needs are specifically and quantities you want. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. And the survey link has been dropped into the chat box, so you could even do it while we're still talking. And that would be really helpful while you're thinking about it. Just do it now.
Oh, Avery, can I add one more thing? A shameless promotion. I'm in the cleaning business if most of you don't know that. And I offer office sanitizing services where we clean the touch points in your offices. So if you're interested, I think my name is on the member list that we share. And my phone number, my email and phone number are on there if you're interested. Thank you.
Thank you. If you could drop it into the chat. And we had a question. Can people contact Z Promotions directly? Like if they say, hey, I'm a COAACC member, want to know more, can they just reach Zulene, or would you prefer they go through that survey first?
We would prefer they did the survey, but even after that, I mean, they can contact Zulene. We're trying to get an idea of some large purchases that can take place and, hopefully bring the cost down a little bit and get a better delivery time frame. So if you open your office by the end of this month, theoretically, if you ordered something today's the 13th, you'd have it by the 1st of June. I'm not gonna make promises, but that's what it looks like, as versus if you ordered it on your own, it's gonna be 3 to 6 weeks to, especially gloves and masks.
That's real. All right, so yeah, definitely thank you, Denise, and thank you, team, for working that out. So yes, please do that survey now and later, because we need to know, like she said, if we can figure out what the buying power is, or what the need is from our membership, And not just our members, well, right now, you know, it's a benefit for us, right? But we need to make sure that all Black businesses are covered and all Black people are protected. So if you have other restaurants, other folks that you know who need this kind of thing, that might be a cool way to entice them to come join us, right? But also, I'm sure that Zuline, if it was part of the mass order, she wouldn't have a problem with trying to add other people, because if it's a larger order, the price per item goes down. We all know how wholesale works. So that's kind of what we're trying to get at here with this. Okay, thank you very much. Next. Okay, so legislative updates. I'm looking at the time. All right, we're at 6. Okay, we're good. So again, I know you're watching the news, so you're probably hearing some of these horror stories, and then we could give some context to it. I would like to for you. So first, again, on that paycheck protection. So we know that there were, if you heard or if you kind of were watching what was happening, there was supposed to be some specific guidances given from the SBA to lenders so that we could have a better shot at getting small minority-owned businesses the monies. But there have been failures across the board. And so I would encourage you to reach out to your elected official, and I'll get more into that in the next slide. But we know that the intention within this latest pot of money was that a portion of it not only went to small lending institutions, but it also was earmarked for minority-owned, women-owned, and rural businesses or agricultural businesses. That didn't happen. That just got omitted entirely from the guidance. But also, they don't even ask the questions necessary to determine the demographics of the owner. So, I mean, they might know you and know who you are and what you are, but that didn't happen. So I linked a CNBC article. That's actually the title of the article, but we'll share this PowerPoint as a PDF so you can click it and read the stuff too. But I think a very large thing that's kind of being talked about, but not really being talked about, it's being talked about by Black people, and surprisingly, Rob Portman, we mentioned it in one of our emails, and some other elected officials are talking about it. But it has been leaked that the SBA, the Small Business Administration, has been unilaterally denying people, if you check the box that says that you had been arrested for a felony offense within ever, really, if you had a certain type of misdemeanor within 10 years, and there was one other caveat. But the challenge is in the law, well, first of all, they're denying based on an arrest, not a conviction. And so, and the way that the question is bunched on the application, it's 5 questions with 1 box. And so you have to say yes or no. And so you might just be saying yes to one of the things, but they have been doing some robo denials and not providing context. And so the link in the resource center that I have here listed, the Collateral Consequences Resource Center, has, and Forbes ran it, I think Entrepreneur Magazine ran it, but there's screenshots that have been leaked out of the SBA that the underwriters, they have guidances that they received, but the underwriters, it shows that it's an arrest, not a conviction. Technically speaking, there are only a couple levels or types of felonies that automatically exclude you totally from SBA eligibility. And furthermore, you can't have a misdemeanor within 5 years, not 10. And you can't be currently on parole or probation. That's what the law says. And so there have been challenges. There have been challenges that people are having and not knowing where to go. And so we've seen Congresswoman Beatty is trying to get some legislation passed about it. Rob Portman sent a letter to the U.S. Treasury, and we had some other play, but it's really important that these folks are hearing your thoughts and your experiences specifically. And so on the next slide, I'll talk about the survey that Congresswoman Beatty has, but you can always write a letter. You can always send an email. You can always make a phone call. Their aides are working from home or working remotely. They're doing nothing but looking at their computers, and they're compiling this information so they have ammo to go and pursue additional legislation or try to push their weight. What you need to know is the SBA has an ombudsman, which is an advocate, And you can be sending complaints to the advocate. On the SBA.gov, on the bottom of the page is a link to the Ombudsman program, and you can get phone number, email address, mailing address. We need to make sure our voices are heard in response to this. We have, I have been compiling an appeal that will turn into a template letter that I'll share with membership that cites the law as it stands for the SBA, the guidance that's been revealed and pushed by the SBA, but additionally, these findings of organizations like the Collateral Consequences Resource Center. And their whole mission is to really illuminate challenges that people are having that are probably past legal, a little gray in some cases, based on your criminal past or history rather. And so again, not all felonies automatically just bar you from these things. And so one thing is, this is my own personal sidebar, I feel like sometimes we get caught into the criminal part being a Black issue, but it really isn't just a Black issue. It's a people issue when 1 in 3 Americans have a criminal record. And so this is something that needs to be addressed. And if they're talking about putting out additional monies, which is the next bullet point, the HEROES Act has been proposed by the US House. It includes some additional resources for business, for individuals. They're talking about more stimulus dollars, like cash payments to individuals. They're talking about tax credits, and they're looking at buffering and giving some more funds to some of the existing initiatives. And so before more legislation, or as more legislation is passed, we have to make sure that we're doing our due diligence, and I'll try to keep you abreast of all the information as I hear about it. But we have to make sure that the people who we have elected know how we feel about these things. And so I meant to take her off for this one. She's on the next slide too. I'm gonna get to Betty in a second. But just so you're aware, and so if this is something you support or might not, or you wanna let them know that you're with it, Senator Sherrod Brown is introducing a bill for $100 billion for emergency rent relief. One thing that I want to make sure that we're all thinking about, and by we, I mean the royal we, our elected officials, how are we shoring up the small landlords and the small development companies who haven't been receiving rent, and in some cases hadn't been able to access the paycheck protection? And actually, if you think about it, paycheck protection doesn't really help them in the same kind of way, because it's on how much you pay yourself, not how much revenue that you had. And it's not addressing the issue of, if they held a mortgage themselves, how is that mortgage being paid when there are moratoriums that are coming down, but not resources that are coming up to those people? And I'm not saying give resources to all of the major big box developers or whatever and those landlords, but we need to make sure that for lack of better terms, the crap doesn't trickle down. Because if the rent keeps not coming in, some of these mortgages are going to start defaulting, and some people are going to get put out. Even hopefully not. Hopefully the banks are like, no, you can stay. But if the bank all of a sudden becomes your landlord, the bank isn't always the best landlord. So I think that when we're looking at the different rent resources, we have to be thinking about making sure that we're taking care of the whole, not just. And that, I understand in a crisis, that's what happens. We have to make, we're looking at most emergency level things, but then what we don't always look at is how all of the emergencies compound on each other and cause a larger emergency. So that is something to keep in mind. That part, yeah, Tasha, I'm sorry. And then Senator Portman, and this gets back to the folks with records thing. Like I said, he did send a letter to the Treasury Department to making the coronavirus loans available to small business owners with criminal records. I think I guess his aides didn't look at the law the same way I did, but they already do. The issue is not the Treasury, the issue is the Small Business Administration, and making sure that they're not just disavowing their own laws. They're not even following their own guidances that have been in place since before forever. And Tasha, her point in the chat was very astute. We have people with records who start their own businesses because they can't get employment, and they may employ people who also can't get employment. And so if you're saying that even if it's been 10 years, 15 years, you're saying that they just can't get this paycheck protection, you're hurting all sorts of people for no reason. I mean, obviously some crimes you probably don't want to give like the money to somebody who has a white collar crime where they was like fraudulently taking money or something like that, right? But that's not, we're not even talking about these outliers. We're talking about people who have low level crimes in a lot of cases. And some of them, in some cases, the laws are changing where they could get their records expunged, but they haven't. And so those people are being denied too. And so this, again, is very important that we let our elected officials know that, hey, we know what's going on. We know we know the rules of the game, but you're still just not following the rules. And then what? So that's a whole nother larger conversation, I know. But these are things that we have to let them know that we are worried about. All right, so Congresswoman Beatty, like I said, she's working on this Ban the Box initiative, and she's already provided some language, and we'll be working in some of that language to this template letter that you can share on your own letterhead. I'm gonna do all of the work for you. If you wanna freestyle and ask some stuff, freestyle, I don't care. Call her up, let her know how you feel. But if she's not your congresswoman or your congressperson, the links are here. First of all, you should know who your congress people are. And at the, not just at the federal level, but you should also know who they are at the state level, because the state just passed, the controlling board just authorized additional like hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe not hundreds, but like $150 million to various coronavirus efforts, including $6.7 million to the small business development centers. And so you have to be able to voice your opinion and let them know, hey, yeah, that's cool, but maybe you don't get services there. Maybe you get services from another development center. Maybe there's some other folks who are doing work who aren't getting the resources they need to get supported. So feel free to reach out to them. You elected them, you are their constituent, so they speak for you, or they should be anyhow. And then Congresswoman Beatty, and the link is now in the box as well. She's asking for your input. She wants to know how COVID has specifically impacted you. And what I do know is that she's taken the data that is being collected, and it's not just her that's using it, it's the whole Congressional Black Caucus. They're trying to get information from all over the country, how this is impacting Black folks. And so not just business, but health, your kids in school, how are our kids doing? We have graduations coming up, but what does that even matter, right? Or did they get what they needed over the last semester to graduate? And are they prepared for next semester? Like, those are important things that we need to be communicating and thinking about. Like, and that's also something we want to know, and I want to know for sure, is how has the distance learning been impacting your family? How is working from home impacting your family? Like, what's going on? Because we're business owners, but we're people, right? So it's really important that we're getting the whole story, and that we're trying to match you with what you need. Upcoming events, serious fun, right? On starting May 21st, the Ohio Black Expo, it was supposed to be the first year back, and it was going to be banging at the downtown on the river. But because of this COVID stuff, it's gone virtual. And so I'm happy that we have both Rhonda Robinson she's a member now, yeah. And then Sherry Hamilton is also here. I put some information on the screen, but starting on Thursday, May 21st, is a small business workshops day. And if Sherry and or Rhonda would like to tell us anything, but it's free, and you all should register, and you should tune in on Thursday. Anything you guys want to add?
Yes, we're really excited about going virtual. It was a little punch in the gut initially, but it's really coming together nicely, and I'm glad that we're still able to provide service to the community, as well as giving exposure to Black businesses and through our vendors, and also to our performers. So the small business workshop, I think there's something there for pretty much everyone. The group of presenters that we have are so amazing, and the content is so dynamic. I think any business owner would benefit from something going on during the day. So you can go to our website, ohioblackexpo.com, and see what the topics are and the presenters. We have the amazing Sandra Moody Gresham, who will be speaking also on business insurance. And I think there are some other chamber members that will be presenting. So we're pretty excited about that. Friday, we have a workshop for seniors and caregivers for any of you who might be in the same situation as me, where you're caring for your parents or others in your family that may be disabled. And then in the afternoon, we have a wellness workshop. And the highlight for me, no shade to any of the presenters in the wellness workshop, but the highlight for me is at 2 o'clock. Chef Shanna from Lifestyle Cafe is going to do a cooking class to round off that wellness.
Yes, Chef Shanna.
Yes. So I can't wait to learn how to cook how she cooks. So anyway, that's on Friday afternoon. And all of this is free. On Saturday, we have a live webcast that's going to be a mix of performances by our artists, some guest DJ appearances. We're honoring some folks. And we also, if you know of anyone who you feel is worthy of recognition, please also go to the website and consider nominating someone. I think that's getting cut off on Friday. So sometime before Friday, if you want to nominate someone. We're also honoring some Black veterans. So it'll be a really nice event. And for any of you who have been to the Redo, which mostly I think has been at Avalon, is kind of a 90s and before kickback, old school. The official after party, which will start right after our webcast, will be virtual as well at the end of the webcast, the Redo. So it's with DJ L Sharp. So that's that. Oh, one last thing. So the vendors, the businesses, our vendors that would have been, I think we have almost 80 of them. They are all on COAACC.com. So we are hoping we will be promoting for people to support those businesses. A lot of them will allow you to, or have the ability to take orders online, or they're restaurants that are doing carry out or curbside express or delivery. So we hope that you'll support them as well.
Fantastic. Hold on. Rhonda, hold on, you're muted. Okay, go ahead.
Hear that? Okay. I will be on NBC4, Daytime Columbus, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I believe it may be taped in terms of rotation, but that's the time that I've been given. I certainly have asked Sherry to join me, because Rhonda is not a techie person at all. And so so we will be, NBC4 is our media sponsor. And so I will be on the show at 10. It's about a 5-minute segment talking about the Black Expo and what will take place during Memorial Day weekend.
Yay.
And I want to add something too with respect to that. I question NBC4 with regards to featuring more African Americans on their station that are in business during Daytime Columbus. It is really an incredible opportunity. I have been on NBC4 in previous years and doing the Black Expo. But it's something to take advantage of. That 4 or 5 minutes is a very powerful segment. It runs really quickly, but I certainly would encourage all of you to take advantage of that. And I intend to help them to get more minorities on their show in business.
Yeah, thank you, Rhonda.
You're welcome.
Yes. So yeah, everybody tune in tomorrow, and then also share it. We know that once they do a lot of these stories, they post it on their website or social media, and we can share it as well. Mm-hmm. Let's see, questions for the expo, and also for Rhonda for the Good Day or whatever it's called, the NBC thing you're doing. Is there a fee to appear on that?
Daytime Columbus. There is a fee, but they are our sponsor. That's why there's no fee for us. I think it's around, I could be wrong, I think it's around $800. $800, yeah.
Maybe a good opportunity cost depending on how much play you get. And then Nicole wants to know, will the food trucks still be operating as part of the Virtual Black Expo, like a local place where people can go and check out food trucks as part of the expo?
So we are in the process of gathering information from our food trucks to find out where they'll be specifically on Saturday, the 23rd. So we hope to have that information available and have it posted.
Sweet. Cool. Thank you both. And one thing that I want to say, Sherry kind of, she mentioned it, but she didn't mention it. So Sherry recently just launched COAACC, HUKU apps, apps.com. It's a cool Black directory.
App with no S.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, it's like Kroger's. And so, but HUKUapp.com. It's a dope Black directory because Sherry is a fantastic web designer and coder. And so we're looking at how, and we're getting there, but we're looking at how we partner. So we're gonna try to get all of our COAACC membership on Huku before the Black Expo, so we can be part of the fun. But Huku, HUKUAPP.com. If Sherry, if you could put that in the chat, so people can look. But it's great. It's like I'm a fan of it already, and so we need to. And that gets us into the next part, Buy Black Thursday. So we have Huku app. We have goallblack.com. We have the COAACC list on our website, but we're trying to just populate the internet with in centralized ways with our Black businesses, so that on Black Business Thursday, hashtag Black Business Thursday, which was an initiative that was inspired. Council President Shannon Hardin came to us with this idea of a way to support Black-owned businesses in Columbus, and so exactly. Every Thursday, every day, Buy Black, right? So we, it's again tomorrow, because it's Wednesday, right? Yep. So we've been doing it. This will be our, I think our maybe third one. And so we're trying to encourage, be creative with it. So not just restaurants, even though that's an easy in, but not even as easy as it has been because not everybody's open. But thinking about, how can you be supporting Black businesses? So last week we talked about, it was Mother's Day coming up. So we talked about different, you could pre-order some meals, or you could buy flowers from Danya's Florals. But then also there are other ways, like we have a ton of businesses that have shifted and they're producing, so Zulene does real PPE, active, like personal protective equipment, medical grade, and other levels of masks and the hazmats and the decals and all that stuff. And we also have crafters and we have other folks who have started sewing masks. And so they're not medical grade, but you can be off, I wish I had one up here, but you could, have your African print, or you could have cool different fabrics, and people are selling those. And that's a way that you can support a business for not too much. But all of that actually matters, and it's going into somebody's pocket real time. But you also could think about, who's your insurance agent? Who's your accountant? Who's doing your payroll processing? Because some of this has illuminated the fact that you need to just buy it. You need to not try to do it in-house. And so we're always directing people to our website and to support you all. As a matter of fact, Tasha and Janine and Sandra, I put you guys on to a new business owner just like right before I left work. And so that's what we're trying to do. And so if you want to be specifically promoted, feel free to reach out. Like if you have an idea, like, hey, people need to think about buying X, and I provide that X, you need to let me know. And you can email team@coaac.org. Oh, that's true too, Ms. McQuetta. You also could be looking at supporting Black led and Black nonprofits. We have plenty of nonprofits that are here that are supporting our people and aren't receiving specific foundational funds, whereas a donation is like immediately attached to somebody in our community in need. So Envision Proven Success is another one of our membership. Ms. McQuetta Williams is in here, and she does work with women, and sometimes women who are in who have been in challenging or dangerous situations, and they're trying to improve their lives. They're trying to get on a different kind of path. And so she has training, she does one-on-ones with these women, but we could be supporting their nonprofit. Oh, cool. Ohio Black Expo is also a nonprofit support. But yeah, so we need to be thinking creatively about what we can do. Also, we're working on a partnership. Yep, I got you, Rhonda. We're working on a partnership with ColumbusBlack.com. He does his support Black business thing every week or every other week. I was on one last week talking about this, the Chamber and the new program at the Urban League, where we're helping businesses through the COVID situation. But he's looking for businesses to shout out and support. So he asked me for 2 or 3 people that might be interested in being on his program. And he just talks about what you do, what you want to do, what you could do. And so we're trying to identify all of these places where we can be putting each other on and supporting each other. And so it is reasonable. And he's doing some deals right now, especially through COVID, to try to help more of our businesses. So hit me up, hit us up at team@coac.org, and we can connect you to that as well. But we really want to know what we can be doing and how we can be supporting you. Okay, so we're going to go to the updates from the floor portion, but we're going to start with Rhonda, whose hand is raised.
I was mistaken in terms of the amount with NBC4. I believe it's somewhere between $1,000 to $1,500. Yes. I have to laugh because I'm crying, but yes. It used to be somewhere around that price years. I guess it's been several years, but it is very popular with businesses, but you see mostly Caucasians, not African Americans, taking advantage of it. And I had mentioned that to them today, and they said they want to certainly have and host, more African Americans on their show. So I'm going to be pushing for that.
Yeah, and there may be some opportunity for COAACC to help ease this. We were in conversations with Sinclair or Channel 6 and CW and all that kind of stuff. I forget, there's Sinclair Group maybe. But how could the Chamber help offset the cost, not necessarily us paying for it, but convince them to give a discount? And we would, but maybe do a series where we feature multiple of our businesses over a course of a series, and they all, you have to pay some of it. It's definitely a opportunity cost there.
Yeah.
But how can we help defray that cost? And we've always had a good play with NBC4. They it's always usually in February, of course. But there may be some way. Yeah, exactly. That would be cool. Yeah, if we could get them to document by Black Thursdays. We had the dispatch reach out to us. So however we can think about how we could leverage the Chamber and our membership to increase awareness across channels, I think we should definitely be looking at.
Yeah. Let me say this finally. I don't think that media, white media per se, knows what's really happening in our community. I mean, they know the crime and all of that. But in terms of the business, the good things with women, with men and women in business, that needs to be featured. And I am going to be pushing for that with them.
Yeah.
Just want you
to let us know how we can help.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other updates from the floor? What's going on, folks? Anything you want the group to know? You just unmute yourself, or I'll unmute everybody if you want me to. Don't make it free for all, though.
Avery?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just real quick thing. It's a kind of a follow-up to the PPE. Our membership and marketing committee is also discussing having a webinar or a Zoom meeting in the next 10 days or so we can actually display some of the products that Z Promotions has. If someone's unfamiliar, like for instance, the guards, excuse me, different kinds of masks or whatever. So, but we'll send that out and hopefully put it on the Facebook page.
Sweet. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
Ma, you have some?
I did. So COAACC is going to be teaming with the National Coalition of 100 Black Women for a Buy Black weekend. It's both organizations, Juneteenth. observance. And so we'll be posting information about that. The coalition will be posting information, but that's coming up on Juneteenth weekend. The National Coalition of 100 Black Women across the country, our 64 chapters, are all doing this Juneteenth observance, and COAACC is partnering locally with them.
That's cool. I like it, like a nice positive Juneteenth event. Not that they're not all positive, but you know, showing off. What if we could do our own show? I have an invitation to do it. You know, Janet Davis has in the chat, she said, what if we could do our own show? She has an invitation to do a Roku channel.
Wow.
That's great.
That's timely.
That is, right? Let us, we got plenty of people who want to be on it. And if, yeah, I think that would be cool. And we had kind of chatted about doing something. But I like it if a business does it. And Janet, correct me if I'm wrong, you're with, you have an online hair supply store? Yes, no?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
I used to have an online, but now I have an online clothing store.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I have two things. I have an online clothing store, and I have an online, I just started a resource blog, and it's called Showing You How to Get Your M Bag. And I'm showing different people how to get like side hustles. I post about jobs. I have that on Facebook, and I have my own website. I used to have my own TV show in Detroit, Michigan. It was called We on One, and what we did, we went out into the community and we talked to anybody that was doing something positive to inspire others to do good. So somebody reached out to me about a Roku channel, and you know, I was like, what am I gonna do with a Roku channel? But it's like God is showing me right now fruition, you know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can you put the information in the in the chat so we can all go look for it, and we'll share it with everybody afterwards?
Yeah, because I don't have no sales. I need some help.
Well, please post it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And Avery, tomorrow I am meeting with Sharon Gordon. She is launching a network and looking for, we're going to talk about featuring business owners, but she's looking for contents for something she's calling CEO, career, entrepreneur, and I don't know what the O stands for.
I used to work with her at the Urban Channel.
Okay, so
Yeah.
she is launching a new network. She's got 4 cities that she's working in. So we're meeting tomorrow, and hopefully we come away with that with a way to promote some of our member businesses and organizations.
Yeah, and I'm all like, let's do all the cross promotion that we can, right?
Absolutely.
To drive traffic to each other. And yeah, because Tasha, yeah, I do believe Zuline has a product too. I don't know what ZTV is. Is that her own channel?
Yeah, I don't know if I have the name correct, but I do know that she has a I guess a streaming service that she offers that individuals can have different channels on. So I believe that's how it works.
Oh, yeah. Because we talked about it too, and I was like, I don't know about all the content needed, right? Because on one hand, it's like everybody should do it, right? But then it's also like I want to make sure that we don't just put up a channel and there wasn't anything there. It's hard. It's like a blog. You got to make sure you got enough content before you start a blog.
Right.
So Janine asked, she has several high school students who are asking about virtual internships. Has anybody heard anything, or do we have any thoughts about that? Because I know a couple teenagers myself who are looking for an opportunity, and if we're not coming back together like we had been, the summer internships are kind of just like going away.
I can't say anything officially yet, but for years, I used to have interns. For years, I've wanted to start that back up. Young people who are interested in coding or website development, app development, and graphic design. I can't say officially yet. I will know how I feel after this expo is over, but I would unofficially possibly consider taking on at least one intern, maybe two.
Yeah, cool. Because I mean, we've talked about the chamber needing a marketing intern like yesterday, but also I know that we're probably not the only ones. And so Nicole says in the chat that she has some remote internship opportunities for the summer, like research and data collection. Wanda says she'd be interested in virtual internships. And so we could probably figure out how, obviously, the chamber should be able to help with that. If we could figure out, maybe there's like a digital application process. Maybe we lean on somebody who I won't say who works with youth on scholarship, that scholarship thing that you do. There might be a way that we could I'm talking to you, Ma. How can we be helpful for that? So the question then would be, what are the needs as far as members? Because the kids are everywhere. That's not the hard part. The hard part is, what would you actually need? What kind of skill sets are you looking for? Is it social media? Young people are great at social media. Is it doing research? Is it doing, I don't know. There you go. We are too already. Research, data collection, social media, trying to get us, maybe get more online, maybe trying to increase your web presence, maybe trying to figure out these funny social medias like TikToks and I don't know, the other ones that people are on these days. You would think I would know more about it, but I don't. But I would love an intern that did. And so, oh, sweet. The first step is, what are the needs? The second step is, obviously, how can we match it? What do you need to know from the people, from the kids? What's the age that you're willing to work with? Is it 14 up? Is it, I don't know, 16 to 22? What are you looking for? And then I'm not trying to get ahead of my skis, but there may be ways that we could try to figure out how to do a stipend for these youth. And so whether it be partially from the business, maybe it would be partially with, we find some foundation or somebody that's had typically done this kind of work, but it was face-to-face, and the monies are there, but they can't use them because they can't come face-to-face. And so I think that we should definitely we can do some offline brainstorming, reach out, but we'll also put some stuff together and start thinking about that, because now is the perfect time to launch something like this. We have, and especially because the youth, they'll need to be able to have community service. They'll need to have work experiences that they're not able to get right now. And so, yeah, that's a fantastic idea.
Avery, we can use, in addition to the coalition, pull in Rise Sister Rise.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now Black Girls Rising, but still, because they have girls they work with all the time. And, you know, Tammy at Central Community House certainly has kids that are going to need these opportunities. So once we get a bucket of opportunities, I think we won't have a problem finding the students to fill those.
Mm-hmm. And we have to obviously be creative with, this was a challenge in the school year. And so what about the devices necessary? What about the internet capacity? What about those kind of things? So being creative with your needs in ways that we can fill them with youth virtually, and still so they can get that experience. Because some of those programs might go off, like Spectrum was doing free Wi-Fi for some households. But actually I found out today that they also, in general, they were doing very, very discounted Wi-Fi for households and with certain economic standing. So for like $9.95 a month. And so we just we'll think about because we know best and are probably most aware of what our kids actually need and the challenges they've actually been having in this experience. So I believe that collectively we'd be able to put together a pretty cool program that would be able to go beyond the summer. It wouldn't just be it doesn't have to be a summer thing. It could also be when they go back to school, because they'll still be virtual. Hopefully not, but all signs are pointing to them still being virtual. All right. Any last thoughts? We'll digest the chat, so we make sure that all the information shared will get put into the follow-up email. We will get this recording out of the cloud and into the email. I don't know. And we'll share it with everybody. So we'll make sure that you'll have it in your inboxes by tomorrow morning. I'm not going to make a lie and promise that it's going to happen today. But we definitely want to make sure that you have it, and we will share it. So please share it with your networks. If you have businesses and colleagues that have been on the fence about joining or not joining for a variety of reasons, please share with them the new benefits that are coming online, especially those health insurance benefits and the PPE benefits, because we know, we were talking about this yesterday, that we know, oh yeah, Tasha, that's a good idea. We do know that there are, some people who maybe have been working or still working somewhere because of access to health insurance. And they were afraid to take the leap. Or maybe we have people who are uninsured, and up until now, we couldn't even offer this insurance to people with less than 2 employees. And so now, as of July 1st, and that is ongoing, I think, I know that some of Sandra, correct me if I'm wrong, they would be able to, when do people have to enroll for the health insurance just in one specific window, or is that any time they're coming on as members?
I think she said it was a window.
Yeah, I know it was a window for the new Colonial Life stuff, but I'm not as sure about the Anthem. So I'm sure Nicole and Sandra will let us know when they contact you about it. And as soon as we get clarification on that, we'll let you know. But please encourage your friends and folks to join. And again, we aren't trying to be cost prohibitive. We know that people have a lot of things that they're worried about and they're working through. And so if cost has been the only barrier to keeping you out this chamber, please reach out to me and let me know. Go ahead and fill out your application. We will work with you. That's not a good reason to not be a member of our chamber, because we are here for Black business and Black people. So our next meeting is scheduled for May 26th. It's a Tuesday, because I am aware that I thought about this late, that people are on virtual Bible studies right now. So we will shift it to Tuesdays. So the next one is Tuesday, May 26th at 5:30 p.m. The Zoom information will follow. If you have anything you want to share on the agenda, let us know ASAP. And we'll start fleshing out the agenda. And if we have to come together before that, we will, if something super pressing comes up. But as always, keep an eye on your email, on coac.org, and on our Facebook social media. And we try to keep things pretty updated and moving. And most often it's on Facebook super regularly, but then on our website and also email. So unless there are anything from the group.
Avery,
Yes, sir. Hey, Darius.
how's everyone doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. If anyone gets the PPP loan, it's extremely important that after you receive those funds, you talk to your tax advisor. There are a lot of things that the government isn't talking about that pertains to what can be deducted based on what those funds are used for, if any portion is forgiven. So please talk to your tax advisor to make sure that you understand the implications of receiving those funds, what they have to be used for, and the tax consequences of those funds.
Are you one of those people that people can reach out to, Darius?
Yes, I can assist you. What I would say right now, everybody has questions. If you have a question regarding anything, reach out to one of the members. If it's regarding payroll, tax, bookkeeping, give me a call. I'm not going to charge you. I think a lot of the members are in the same boat. We want to make sure that everybody has the right information and the most appropriate for your situation. But you have to reach out and give us a call.
Yeah. Thank you, Darius. And that's real. The coolest thing about our chamber, and I'm sure lots of other chambers, right? But the coolest thing about our chamber is that we have people who are for our people and who are community minded and are here to answer and to be a resource to you. So please don't feel like you can't reach out to somebody because you maybe haven't yet. Email, phone number, just reach out. And we're here. All of us are here to be a resource to each other because this is a collective and a collaborative, and we are here to grow our businesses. And so, yeah. Thanks, Darius. That was a good note to end on. All right, y'all. Well, be blessed. Stay healthy. Stay away from them germy people. Wear your mask when you're outside, hand sanitize, wash your hands, that
You want
stuff.
to see my special African mask?
Yeah. Ooh,
Oh, I like that. I like
Nice.
that.
that's
I
right.
have several patterns from my friend at company name, Avery.
Beaded Treats by Nat. If
What
you
is
go
it
on
called
Etsy,
again?
Beaded Treats. And if you go on
Beaded-
Etsy, she's there.
She's on Etsy.
On what? What is she on?
Etsy?
Etsy. And I can include that information. But also, if you go to goallblack.com, we have a post with the people that we know included Beaded Treats that have masks. And so, yeah, it's there. And it's also on our Facebook page. We had a post we put up, and there's a ton of people that are local that are producing masks. And you can go see them. You can, and everybody was posting people they knew. And so if you go on our Facebook, that happened, I think last week,
Right.
but it's there. So please support our people.
Oh, can I do a shameless plug?
Sure.
So Rhonda Robinson,
Yes,
after
ma'am.
the expo is over, I am going to do an official invitation, but I'm going to call you out publicly and say, I sure hope you join the Chamber's Marketing Committee.
Yeah.
The Chamber's Marketing Committee?
We have a marketing and membership committee. Denise was on earlier. She is the chair, but I have known you for 30 years and I know
Oh,
that,
I'm gonna get you, girl. You hear me?
and I was a high school student, of course, when we met.
Oh,
But,
sure, sure.
I know that your years of Ohio Black Expo, I know that you would be an asset to us. And I say that in all sincerity, but I'm not gonna let you get off this meeting without me saying,
Oh, Lord. Okay.
after the expo is over.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. I need to be busy. I really do. Very busy, especially
And
now.
we can absolutely use you.
Okay. Done deal. Done deal.
Okay.
All right.
You heard her, Tasha.
I want to
Tasha's
help.
also on the
I
board.
really want to help
Yeah.
Sherry. Listen to me. I want to help Sherry more so to do the Black Expo. Jill, I am 68. A stunning 68, of course.
Of course.
You know, but I recognize my bones and my limbs. Do you hear me? But I still have my mind.
Well, that's what we are going to use, and we appreciate any help you can give us, because I know you bring some wisdom. I know
Oh,
you
yeah.
bring some wisdom.
Definitely. I
Thank
need
you.
to be busy, and I thank you. Done deal.
Thank you all so
Thank
much.
you. Our young member, Brooklyn, says hi to everyone.
Hey, Brooklyn.
Yeah, our youngest member. Hey, Brooklyn.
Yes.
Hi,
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn.
the 4-year-old CEO with Brooklyn's Bookmarks.
Yes, can't wait to see those bookmarks.
Ooh, okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
y'all.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks.
Good
Have a good
night.
night, everyone.
Bye-bye. Tune in tomorrow, Daytime Columbus.
Yay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.